morning, campers! We are currently passing the Wagon Hound Road rest area near Elk Mountain, Wyoming. Elk Mountain, I think you guys can see it off to the left, just over that hill. It's the big one. Welcome to Wyoming. We're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and the middle of nowhere is the kind of part of the road where I get a lot of time to just think. And in doing that thinking, I am aided by a large number of podcasts and whatnot that I listen to. And one of them touched on a particularly frustrating subject that I wanted to talk about just because I have thoughts. So I want to make a few disclaimers right off the bat. This one's gonna be a little heavy, so if you want to check out now, that's cool. If you want to just mute it and enjoy the scenery, we're gonna be driving between, currently near Elk Mountain. We'll probably get to, still just near Elk Mountain. We'll be near Elk Mountain basically this entire video. We might get to Sinclair if this goes on super long, but probably not. We'll probably just be up here in the hills around Elk Mountain, which is the big blue mountain in front of us and to the left, currently. This one's going to be a little heavy, so check out now if you want to. It's not going to be, like, offensive or anything, probably. And I'm going to keep it clean as far as language goes. I'm making this sound so much worse than it is. But I also want to just make a couple disclaimers. One, I am not a philosopher. I am a truck driver. I drive a truck. This is my living, is this truck. My entire profession is this truck. I have some knowledge of physics and the general way that the universe functions because I do have a degree in meteorology, weather forecasting. I don't have a job in weather forecasting because I was not good enough at it to get a job in weather forecasting. I'm good enough at it to keep myself safe, and I don't particularly like doing it for other people because that's a little bit too much stress for me. But, you know, I get to use it in my day-to-day life, and that's cool for me. But that also gives me some knowledge of a little topic called simulations. You see, in weather forecasting, we use a lot of simulations. And, of course, I've played video games my entire life, and what are video games beyond just fun simulations? And so one of the podcasts I was listening to this morning discussed the idea that what if reality is a simulation? What if nothing exists and we are all simply living in a computer-generated world? Boy, a 45-mile-an-hour zone at the bottom of a hill seems like a bad idea because the truck behind me is getting a lot closer, a lot faster than I would like. He's good. He got it under control. Yeah, they were discussing the idea of, well, what do we live in a simulation? So the basic premise of that is, it's a real big if, and I take issues with the if, but I'll get into those in a bit. If a perfect simulation is possible, then there are probably a lot more perfect simulations of the universe than in one actual reality. So your odds of being in reality versus being in one of the infinite number of perfect simulations of reality are extremely low. So by that thought experiment, chances are we're living in a simulation. And there's nothing you can do with that information. There's no way to falsify it. It's very similar to the question of, is there a God? You can't prove no, there's no God. You cannot prove that no, we do not live in a simulation. You know, those two kind of questions can kind of go hand in hand, because you could look at certain views of religion as just like a simulation controlled by a creator. But You can't falsify it. There's no state in which you can say definitively this is not a simulation. But what frustrates me so much about that, first off, I have a big problem with the if, is I don't think a perfect simulation of the universe is possible, personally, because simulations require shortcuts in order to function. You cannot simulate every atom in the universe without using every atom in the universe in order to simulate them. I should say every particle in the universe in order to simulate every particle in the universe, because there are particles smaller than atoms, so you could theoretically simulate an atom with particles smaller than an atom, and then, yeah. But, you know, we know that these particles exist. These particles exist in this, not now, buddy. These particles exist in this simulation that we call reality. Unless, you know, it's all just in your head and existing only in your eyeballs, in which case you've got that limited scope of the simulation is simply whatever you're experiencing at any one time. But in order for the simulation to be limited to only your experiences, that means that everybody else you interact with can't be real. And that's where I have a problem with it. Because people use that as an excuse to dehumanize other people. And it's a big problem in the world right now, is this lack of empathy for other human beings. I don't like it. I really don't like it. It's dangerous and it leads to horrible things. You have to depersonalize someone before you can truly hurt them. You have to see them as not a person. It's led to some of the worst things that our species has ever done, and that's why it's so dangerous. And this is just like a new tech bro version of that same thing. It's just a way for tech bros and people who think about the whole simulation thing to come to the conclusion that they are the only real person in their universe, because the whole simulation exists for the sole purpose of convincing them that reality exists. That's a dangerous way to think, because it removes your responsibility to be a decent person. And you see that sort of thing a lot, just like if you look at how people drive. Like right now, look at how far I'm staying away from this truck in front of me. That's because I know there's a person sitting in that truck. A real human person who has a life and a family and goals and dreams beyond that truck. And I don't want to put them at risk to save a couple of seconds of time by getting super close behind them and potentially causing a wreck that could hurt both them and me. You can drive anywhere in America and see people driving like idiots with no respect for the lives of other people around them. Particularly frustrating when I see like a semi tailgating a four-wheeler, because if they get in a wreck, probably the semi driver is going to be fine, but everyone in the four-wheeler might be dead. And it's just like, you can see that that person has not thought beyond their own head. It's a very frustrating thing to watch, particularly as a person who thinks about other human beings and their perspectives a lot more than I maybe should. Keeps me up at night, frankly. But, so, in order for the simulation to be perfect and for other people to be real, then it would have to be a simulation the size of the entire universe. At which point it's not a simulation anymore, it's just the universe. So it's a moot point. Reality, as we see it, must exist, because if it doesn't, then there's no point in anything, I guess? I don't know. I don't like the implications of it, because it gives people an excuse to be terrible, and I don't think people need more excuses to be terrible right now, you know? Sorry, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. I'm trying to get through this video, but it's kind of going all over the place. Hello, Elk Mountain. It's a really beautiful mountain. It's off to the left again. Look at the beauty in this world. Do you think a computer has generated all of this stuff and placed it on your computer screen? Every blade of grass, every little wind noise? No, of course not. The simplest explanation is that reality exists. the simple version. Occam's razor. The simplest explanation for this conundrum is that we live in reality. In my opinion. I can't believe I have to qualify that statement. We live in reality. Other people that you meet on a day-to-day basis are in fact real people that live lives as vibrant and colorful as your own, and you should treat them as such. Like this whole dehumanization thing that happens, like the consequences of that are enormous. Like when you look at other people and you see a person that can be hurt, you can't do certain stuff to them. Like, you can't say, I don't know, theoretically take a family that has just walked across multiple countries and half a continent in order to find a new home because gangs threatened to murder them all in their original home. If you saw them as people, you could not then take them for crossing an imaginary line and put them into cages where they don't have access to clean water except from a toilet cistern, and don't give them soap or toothbrushes or anything. You can't do that to people that you see as human. It's just, the human psyche doesn't allow that. You have to depersonalize it. You have to see them as less than human, as some kind of vermin. And that's a truly horrifying thing to think about, because that stuff is, happening in the world. It's happened on very large scales in the world. You've got an entire history of people rounding each other up and putting each other into camps and murdering each other. And it's just, it's terrifying that human beings are capable of that complete lack of empathy required to be that terrible to each other. And I think the whole "are we living in a simulation" thing is just like a super tech bro-y way of giving people the excuse to see others as less than human, because, if the only thing you can know for sure is that you're real, then everybody else must be fake. And that's a really dangerous, dangerous philosophy to have. Because, again, other people are real. I'm real, you're real. The people in that car over there on the left, they're real. They're very slow apparently, but they're real. We're all real people. It's the simplest explanation. That, maybe treat other people decent? I don't know. Again, I'm not a philosopher. This is just the sort of thing I think about driving through the parts of America where there's nothing at. But of course, we don't have room for more people here, right? Haven't seen a building in the last 13 minutes, but no, we don't have room for other people in this country right now. Sorry, I'm a little bit frustrated at certain current events that you might be able to guess. But yeah, I was just thinking about that whole simulation question and why it frustrates me so much, and I think that's why. I hope I explained my position on that, and maybe it made you think about it, or it didn't. I don't know. This is probably not what you were expecting from this video when you clicked on it, right? This is certainly a little bit weird for my channel, but we're gonna bring it to a close now. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Eliodare. If you do want to hang out with me in a simulation, you can do that. You can find me on the internet at Eliodare on Twitter, Xbox Live, Steam, Nintendo Switch. If you find me on Steam and you friend me on Steam and you happen to play American Truck Simulator, which is the closest thing to a simulation of my real life that exists right now, if you happen to play that game, there is a multiplayer mod, and I've been playing quite a bit of that when I've got downtime, because it's a really good way to just spend time with my girlfriend when I do have the downtime. And I try to hit pilots and flying J's when I know I'm going to have that amount of time, because they've got pretty good Wi-Fi. And if you have me friended on Steam and you happen to be playing Truckers MP, you might just see me as a green dot on your map if we happen to be in the same place at the same time in the video game. Come say hi. especially on Twitter. I check Twitter literally every time I stop the truck. Stop driving, I should say. There are times where the truck is not moving where I would still consider myself driving, in which I do not check Twitter, because that would be dangerous. And irresponsible and completely lacking empathy for the other human beings on the road around me. But bringing that back around. Okay, this outro is going way too long. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day. Oh, wait, hold on one more second, because there we go. This view, one of my favorite in the country. One of my favorites. Just, you come around this corner. Woo, that was a nice wind gust. You come around this corner and just, the foothills of Elk Mountain are spread out before you as you descend from this little ridge here that we just went over. It's utterly breathtaking and could not exist. This would not be a real place in a simulation, I don't think. I refuse to believe this is a simulation. That's just my personal opinion on it. Life is real. Life exists. We exist. Other people exist. Other people are real people. And that's just how I think the world is. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and have a great day.